Hello Jim Award and welcome to my weekly Doctor Who reviews for Season 8, the Peter Capaldi's new era of Doctor Who. This episode is called Listen. It's episode 4 within Season 8 of the series so far. Just finished watching the episode, of course on BBC. The storyline for this episode is quite strange. The episode itself is a bit of an odd one. Definitely not what I was expecting to see from this episode. They didn't really show too much within the footage. It's an episode written purely by Stephen Moffat, so I think he's trying to do like a cool, weird, like solo episode, and I don't know how I quite feel about this episode the first time watch. I think maybe a second time I might have a different opinion, but as a first time viewing, just finished watching it, thoughts and opinions right now. I did like it, but I couldn't like basically the idea of the episode is the actual Doctor, Peter Capaldi, is obviously obsessed with the idea of what's under the bed. Everyone has a bad dream at some point in their lives, so it's the idea of, listen, are you alone? Is there a creature? Is there something out there that could blend in, can have like the perfect, just like can hide basically, in that sense of like, so when you're speaking to yourself or something along those lines, or if you're alone in a room, are you actually alone? Is there someone there, waiting and listening, and get the hairs in the back of your head, things like that, and so that plays upon that kind of horror fear of it. And he's trying to find out the origins and where's this come from? Why does everybody have this in the universe? Everybody seems to have this kind of same nightmare, this kind of same experience, that fear of something being under the bed and something grabbing you in that sense. And he tries to find out what's the origins of this creature is and what it could be, and it's because of this I was quite confused what Stephen Moffat was trying to tell in the actual story. I mean, I get the funk it's like a character story more than anything, to be honest, from Clara, from Danny Pinks, from the Doctor himself. He picks up Clara's character with on this a date gone wrong with Danny Pinks' character. These characters come back in the episode. We kind of elaborate a little bit more into his kind of past and sort of future in a way, which I felt was really good, because obviously he's going to become a companion, I'm guessing, throughout the series, later on during the series. And it seemed like they're definitely building those two characters up to be like an item, practically. Something is going to happen with those two definitely in the future, and they definitely hinted at it very strongly within the episode. Clara and the Doctor travel back to Danny Pink's kind of personal past timeline when he was a kid, and he had that same fear, that same kind of nightmare of something being under the bed. And it was quite intriguing for that sense of like the Doctor was infatuated. He was trying to figure out what is it? What could it look like? What could it possibly be? And they were definitely going hintingly there was something there. And then all of a sudden it kind of changed, and it went kind of back to this personal story relationship between Danny Pink and Clara. Then it went to the kind of like the idea of the personal timeline with Danny Pink's kind of future son practically, and it went a bit strange. I mean, it basically went to the origins eventually of the actual Doctor himself. The Doctor, a very significant and probably a very key scene within Doctor history and mythology, which is probably deliberately done by Stephen Moffat, of course. They went back to the Doctor's very own personal timeline when he was a very young boy, in the barn, and he was having a nightmare, and Clara was the person under the bed, touching his feet, giving him that nightmare, giving him that fear. And you can tell that the actual Doctor was a very young person, being very scared and having the nightmare, and being afraid and things like that. And I think it's trying to suggest the origins of his kind of like personality and the way he kind of sees things in a way, because the idea of companions and hearing that TARDIS sound right before he woke up, kind of thing like that, and the idea of using fear is, it makes you stronger, makes you more invincible, and things like that. So I think they were touching upon the ideas of that, and they even referenced a scene from the 50th anniversary with John Hurt's actually using that same kind of barn place. So it's obviously linking massively back to his childhood days, which we don't see too much of Doctor Who. We've never seen that type of era before. We've seen mostly the future references, things here and there, but we've never seen him as an actual kid, the Doctor. And that's something that's quite interesting. I think it's trying to suggest the origin of what the Doctor wants to become a Time Lord, possibly, if that's what Stephen Moffat was trying to do. He did it quite Strangely, I think the episode was kind of like two little stories in one in a way. I liked the relationship side between Danny Pinks and Clara. I thought it was interesting, the building up in this series, definitely. That's a thumbs up, and I think the next couple of episodes are going to touch upon that a lot more, which is really cool. Find out more about Danny Pink, find out more about Clara. Clara's character, I found a lot more meat this episode, and definitely writing her better, I think, personally, which is fantastic. And of course, we have some significant scenes within Doctor Who mythology now. We've seen the Doctor as a very young kid, and showing an origin of sort of where his kind of state of mind is and the way he kind of reacts in a certain way, which is interesting. But in terms of an actual whole episode and the fact that we did see something, underneath that kind of like duvet or whatever it was, and they never really touched upon it again, is it suggesting that it is real, but but we can never see it? Is it suggesting that the Doctor's whole fascination with that idea and the way he's kind of looked at life is because of Clara's, time meddling in the past that's led to kind of him wanting to know so badly what's under the bed? I kind of struggle with the messages of what the episode was trying to say. That's me as an actual first time watching it. Maybe second time viewing would be better, which I think I might do for sure. But I just felt there was a couple of different things going on this episode which didn't quite mash well together. It was not a bad episode. It was definitely trying to be different. It was trying to be a very significant episode to the Doctor Who mythology and an episode by itself. It just definitely felt like a standalone episode. Didn't really have anything to do with like the Promised Land or the themes of the series. It's definitely like an episode which was purely by itself, and you can definitely tell that. There's definitely got quite a few of those type of episodes this series by the looks of it. But yeah, that's my thoughts and opinions on Listen. I hope you enjoyed watching this review. What did you think of the episode, guys? Did you find it confusing a little bit? What did you take away from this episode? What was the main point for you? I'd love to know, to be honest. A discussion for this episode would be very interesting for sure. So go, folks. Comment down below. So in the meantime, I'm signing out.